Everyone's up to date with the Secret Invasion crossover event, right? It was massive and it blew up the Marvel Universe. And while we loved it, there's this potential conspiracy floating around that, in simple words, makes the Skrull invasion look pathetic. It completely dominates the invasion's impact. In this video, we're going to tell you all about how the Secret Invasion went and what this big conspiracy is. Let's jump right in. First up, the invasion is already doomed. It has been from the start. The new Secret Invasion started with the Skrulls starting a massive attack. You can tell that these shape-shifting creatures have a significant advantage here. They always have, ever since the first event. But there's also a slight problem. Well, you can choose not to see it as a problem. It's more like the Skrulls are confirming a very popular belief about humans who live on the surface and largely Earth in the Marvel Universe. Now, as die-hard fans, we all know that the aliens have attacked humanity many times over the decade after the first Secret Invasion. There's another event happening right now. But the new Secret Invasion 1 reveals one dangerous flaw of the Skrulls, one that can lead to their absolute destruction and inevitable defeat. The biggest weakness you could imagine. The Skrulls don't understand humanity, not one bit. Next, the Skrulls had been missing for a while. We were first introduced to these creatures in Fantastic Four, way back in the 60s. Around that time, the Skrulls were becoming one of the biggest Marvel Universe villains. Then came 2008 and the Secret Invasion crossover event. Contrary to what most of us had anticipated, this event left a very small impact on the universe. In fact, it could have potentially amounted to, well, nothing. The one thing that fans were excited about was which Marvel characters were secret Skrulls. There were theories everywhere, and everyone had their own predictions. As it turned out, no major character turned out to be a long-term Skrull/agent, and even that excitement was killed. What followed was the departure of the Skrulls, not just from the planet, but also from the comics as a whole. We didn't see them for a long time. After all, there's a reason that many of their younger fans of the comics haven't even heard of these creatures. We saw them as villains in the MCU once, taking the stage in Captain Marvel in 2019. That was also 11 years later. But we all know how that movie fared with fans. Coming up, so what's up with the new Secret Invasion #1? The new Secret Invasion #1 sees the Skrulls trying another invasion of the Earth. But we can see that, despite being the entire plot, invasion isn't really the creature's strongest suit. Their tactics and action plan just don't make sense. Nick Fury, for one, isn't doing great with the call and response test by Agent Maria Hill. His identity as a Skrull imposter infiltrating the CIA is discovered pretty soon. And another Nick Fury imposter at the NSA, FBI, the Pentagon, and the Department of Homeland Security are also obviously discovered. Basically, the Skrulls' whole plan, it's ruined before it even began. That's how bad they are. You see, these creatures believe that human beings are stupid, which is a very dangerous mindset for someone trying to conquer the entire race. Imagine this. How are multiple Nick Furies walking into different places on the same day? And these places aren't your local cafe or high school. We're talking about the CIA and the FBI. How did they think this was going to be okay? Would that go unnoticed? Never. Not to mention, the Skrulls think that humans are idiots. Or is there something else? So why would they even attempt such a thing? Either they think that humans are complete idiots, or there's a different explanation for all of this. Maybe they're naturally turning into one another, being the shapeshifters that they are. We don't know much about that, so we can't say for sure, but it could be a possibility, right? But it's also a very far-fetched theory, which is why we're more inclined towards the first one. You see, the MCU has shown us time and again through Avengers movies and Captain Marvel that aliens hate humanity. They hate the Earth. This place is hell to them. And this Secret Invasion only proves that. Because of this hate, these aliens also believe that humans are idiotic. The Secret Invasion may induce fear in people, but it also shows how the entire plan has largely failed, an outcome much different from what the Skrulls were hoping for. Moving on, it's time to question everything we thought we knew about this universe. The new Secret Invasion proves many things, like what we already mentioned, but it also raises a lot of other questions. Let's take a step back for a minute. In this universe, the character stories and origins are always changing. We all know that. Now, why and how do we think that all of this wasn't planned from the start? Our big question is, who really created these superheroes? Well, of course, the artists and writers did. That's not what we're getting at. We mean inside the story. Where did they come from? In Earth 616, 16, we see most of the heroes beginning their stories around the same time, the 1960s, the Silver Age of comics. Inside the universe, this was called the Marvel Age. We saw Hank Pym, Reed Richards, and Tony Stark making advancements. Earth was soon aware of magic and, worst of all, threats from outer space in a very short period of time. Now, is all that happening around the same time a mere coincidence? In a universe as complex as this one, we hardly think any of this was random. There's one story that especially catches our eyes here. Let's take a look at Conspiracy by Dan Abnett and Igor Korty, which came out in 1998. Well, the name gives you an idea of what to expect. For those of you who haven't read this one, Dan and Igor imagine a potential secret past for the Marvel Universe and make us doubt everything. And we mean everything. Now, this series follows Mark Ewing, who is a reporter for the Daily Bugle. Mark is contacted by someone who claims to be a whistleblower. This unknown person tells the reporter about a secret underground military-managed council, which is called Control. Surprisingly enough, this council is funding many of Marvel's biggest minds. But not just that, it also created many of the heroes that we see so often. It allowed the Hulk to run free to help their budgets, and it also intentionally exposed the Fantastic Four to cosmic rays. This unknown person is General Ed Harrison, a former member of this council. But there's a loophole in Harrison's story, which is his own state of mind. He's shown to be paranoid and rather unstable. Another claim arises later in the story that the general invented this council in his own delusions. It doesn't really exist. The series has a rather uncertain ending, where our main reporter is still pursuing the story. At the very end, Ewing comes in contact with a shadowy figure, and that is all there is. Yep, that's it. That's the story. Up next, all of this makes Secret Invasion look rather pathetic. It's true that there's barely any mention of Control ever again besides this one book, which hints that the organization was just made up. The information that the general revealed was some serious stuff. The Fantastic Four was a government plot. It's impossible that there was zero mention of this council after 1998. Here's another thing. There's no concrete evidence linking this story to the 616 universes. Ewing's character has never been seen anywhere else. It's all very hazy, to be honest. But still, despite all the leads pointing us in the opposite direction, we can't help but sit straight. It's very frustrating, which is exactly what a conspiracy is supposed to do. The uncertain end achieved exactly what this story had aimed to, making us question everything we know. There's definitely a club of fans who believes this, there's another one who doesn't, and then there's the majority, like us, who are just confused. The details about Control are both vague yet highly specified. The idea that the government, and especially the military, would want to fund Marvel geniuses is very believable. It makes sense why they'd want to do such a thing. But some details, like creating the Fantastic Four, seem exaggerated. If it is to be true, then the Secret Invasion is underwhelming at best. The real villains aren't in outer space, they're here on Earth. Or worse, our superheroes and villains have exchanged places. And just like in the classic Secret Invasion story, by the end of the conspiracy, fans are left just like the story's characters. We're scared, unsure, and very uneasy. Finally, back to the new Secret Invasion. What's the Skrulls' secret? Now that we've tensed up your minds a lot, let's get back to some of the fun stuff. We talked about how the Skrulls are stupid in thinking that humans are stupid. But how do they still keep winning without actually winning? How are they able to invade without really invading? When Nick Fury is caught, Maria Hill isn't satisfied. That's because the agents know something. The Skrulls have already won. Hill says, "This is what you want, hysteria." And she's not wrong. By infiltrating the ranks, the Skrulls have placed humanity into a constant state of fear and paranoia. They don't know who to trust. They don't need to fight off all the superheroes. Their biggest weapon is fear. They just need to replace one superhero and instill this in the minds of the people. Humans won't be able to trust anyone, and that'll make them fight among themselves. There's more than just one Skrull on Earth. An Avenger has also been replaced, which is where the main drama begins. In attempts to find the perpetrator, the Avengers will turn on each other, basically do all the layout work for the Skrulls. And isn't that kind of mimicking what Control does? Yeah, this Secret Invasion may not be a secret, but it's an invasion and it's working. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think that Control could make a comeback in Secret Invasion? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, and we'll see you in the next one.